Hey, what's up guys? Small Paul here, and today I'm doing a bit more of a chatty video. There's one thing that I would consider myself passionate the most about, and that is introverts and extroverts and understanding and respecting the differences between them. It is such an easy thing for people to throw around as a joke or as an excuse when it is a legitimate thing. So basically, I don't think I'll be able to get all of my thoughts into one video, so I might create a part 2 to this, but I'm going to walk through the basics of the differences between the introverts and extroverts and the scale that's going on there, and I'm going to look at some myths and talk about whether or not they're true. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer all of them. So this is a topic that's often confused with social anxiety or depression, when in reality, introverts and extroverts, the only thing that defines them is what I like to call socially shifted energy. Basically, introverts find their socially shifted energy by their alone time and can be drained by being around people. The amount of people doesn't matter. Sometimes it's better for introverts when there's a large amount of people, sometimes it's better for introverts when there's not a lot of people. Either way, being around people for a long time can drain them. Extroverts, on the other hand, have their socially shifted energy boosted by being around people. They find alone time draining. They're often categorized as loud or outgoing, but they don't have to be either of these things. Extroverts are only defined by their socially shifted energy. Introverts are here and extroverts are here. It's kind of a scale, and in the middle is ambiverts. Most people are ambiverts. Basically, they have traits of introverts and extroverts, so sometimes they might be a little bit more introverted and sometimes they might be a little bit more extroverted. Most people are ambiverts but will sit further towards introvert or further towards extrovert for majority of the time. I do want to say this right now. Extroverts and introverts are not characterized by being shy or being outgoing or being happy or being sad or being lonely or any of that. Again, they are only characterized by their socially shifted energy, and it's such an easy thing to get wrong. I was hanging with one of my friends after a show, we got some Maccas, and he said that he was an introvert because he preferred to be around a smaller group of people than a larger group of people. And I had to stop myself from getting out of my chair in frustration that he was pronouncing loud and proud what is not characterizing an introvert. It is something that I possibly get a little bit too passionate about. I do need to hold myself back sometimes, but it is a really important thing to understand, just like any other state of mind. So I'm going to stop rambling about the basics and I'm going to get onto some myths and we can chat about those. Because I would consider myself an ambivert with a largely introverted sway, I'm going to be looking at myths about introverts. While both sides of the scale have their own problems that they have to deal with, I personally feel that introverts get misunderstood the most in their intentions. Introverts don't like to talk. You know, I get where this comes from, because as an introvert, you don't want to say something unless you are 100% sure that what you're saying is valid, that it's valuable, that it's wanted in this conversation. And if you don't feel like it's any of those things, then you don't want to say it at all. And this can be such a limiting feature for introverts, because people assume that you're shy, that you don't like to talk. It's not true at all. I cannot stress that enough. There are so many introverted people that will just not say anything in a conversation, but they truly, truly do enjoy what's being brought up. For me, this is a massive problem in classes like drama at school, because people are bringing up ideas, they're cultivating this wonderful piece of work, and I don't want to suggest anything in case what I say is wrong, when in reality there is no way that what I'm saying could possibly be incorrect. Well, it could be if I'm making a suggestion that's based on fact, but ideas and sharing opinions of things that I don't like to share much, because if people disagree with me and I start getting the nasty energy from them, then I get drained even more. But that might be a me thing, I don't know. By the way, I am in no way an expert on these things, it's just something that I'm very passionate about and I feel like ranting about it. Introverts are shy. Similar to the last one, you don't have to be shy. It is 100% a possibility that there are many extroverts that are shy and can find it difficult to speak up in social situations. But that doesn't mean that they don't enjoy and feel energized by being around people. Introverts are rude and introverts don't like people. Okay, this is one that deeply affects my life so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I don't want to be around people because I have been around people a lot or because I just am not up to it, I'm considered rude. And for me personally, I know that I have stopped being invited to things because of times where I've just been like, no, I am not in the right mental space for this. I am just going to utterly shut down if I go and meet these people. But thing is, I love being invited to things. Introverts love knowing that even though we get so shitty, I guess, after a while, that people still want to be around us. We don't hate people. I quite like people sometimes. I am quite a fan of people. People are great. I love talking with people. I love sharing experiences with people. It's just sometimes I am not in the right space to be around people. But if I have heaps of things going on that weekend and I get invited to something that's like the sixth thing on that weekend, I am not going to want to go to that because I know I am going to be mentally drained. Of course I'd be physically drained. Anyone would be physically drained if they had that many things going on, but I would be so mentally drained that I would just be a downer. Well, I feel like I would be a downer, and I know it's not going to be great for my mental health. So just because someone's an introvert doesn't mean that they don't like people, and if we come off as rude, we don't mean it. We just need some time. Let us be. Text us in like 12 hours and then we might be a bit better. Again, the amount of time that people take to recover after their socially shifted energy has been drained varies from person to person. Introverts always want to be alone. While we do gain a certain type of energy from being alone, introverts still get lonely, and introverts can still be bored by being in the same place for too long. We don't hate social situations, we just need slightly less of them. Okay, so people tend to assume that introverts are nerds, and they don't like to relax or have fun. No, not at all. We just have slightly different ways of going about it. Introverts can fix themselves and become extroverts. Okay, there is literally nothing wrong with being an introvert, nor is there anything wrong with being an extrovert. It's basically saying that brunettes can fix themselves to be blondes. It is a fundamental part of who you are, and yes, you could try and change it, but genetically or mentally, I'm trying to keep these metaphors going, it will always be who you are. You can change it to display on the outside who you want to be to others, but it will never change. Really, I do understand how easy it is not to know these things and how it can be such a minor part in some people's lives. It is such an easy thing to go about your entire life without knowing the differences between introverts and extroverts, and that ambiverts exist. And honestly, if you've gotten this far into the video, congratulations, I've just been ranting non-stop. It is so important for people to understand that where you sit on the scale of introvert to extrovert doesn't define you, it doesn't change anything else in your life but your socially shifted energy. If you learned something, give this video a like. If you have any questions, leave it in a comment. If you want to see another ranty sort of video, if you have another topic that you'd like me to discuss, also leave that in the comments. Subscribe if you feel extra lovely, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!